She twisted the shiny key in my lock like she owned the place, whispering under her breath, "This whole block belongs to the HOA and I decide who stays." My son, barely 19, swung the door open before she could even push it. He stared right at her with fire in his eyes and said, "Lady, what the hell are you doing with our door?" Karen froze, her fake smile cracking. She stammered, I have authority here. This is community property. I can inspect whenever I want." But her hand was still on my lock, and my son's phone camera was already recording. Instead of backing off, she doubled down. "If you don't open this door right now, I'll call the police and tell them you're trespassing in this house." The audacity made my blood boil. From the kitchen, I stepped into the hallway, calm but shaking inside. She didn't even blink when she saw me. "Good," she snapped. "Now both of you can explain yourselves to law enforcement. Because after tonight, you won't be living here anymore." My son laughed under his breath, but there was no humor in it. "This is our house. You don't have the right to touch our lock. Matter of fact, you just committed a crime." Karen's face went red, then pale. She tried pulling her hand back, but it was too late. He had her on video with the key inside our door. She panicked and hissed, "You don't know who you're dealing with. I run this neighborhood." That's when I stepped closer, slow and steady, and whispered so she couldn't miss a word. "Karen, you really should have checked who you were trying to push out." Her eyes flickered with something I hadn't seen before, fear. And for the first time, she looked like the one who didn't belong. Karen's phone was already in her hand, her fingers trembling as she dialed 911 like it was a weapon. "Yes, I need police right away. There's an intruder inside this house. He's dangerous. And he's threatening me." Her voice cracked into fake sobs, loud enough for every neighbor walking their dog to turn and stare. My son's jaw clenched. He raised his phone higher, making sure the camera caught every single lie she spewed into that call. I stepped forward, keeping my voice calm. "You just told the cops I'm an intruder. In my own house?" My chest was tight, but I didn't let her see it. Karen's face shifted from fake tears to smug confidence. "They'll believe me," she whispered, her lips curling. "The HOA has my back. You'll be out by tonight." That was the breaking point. My son turned his phone so she could see herself on the screen, her key jammed into our lock, her hand refusing to move. "You really think a judge, a cop, or anyone will buy your story when I show them this?" Her eyes darted, and for the first time I saw sweat forming at her temples. Within minutes, red and blue lights painted the street. 2 officers stepped out, hands near their holsters. Karen bolted toward them, crocodile tears flowing again. "Thank God you're here!" "He broke into my neighbor's house, and now he's threatening me and my son." "Please arrest him." The taller officer looked at me with suspicion. His hand brushed the cuffs at his side. My heart pounded, but I forced myself to stay calm. "Officer," I said evenly, "before you touch me, you should know one thing." I reached into the drawer by the door, pulled out a leather folder, and handed it over. The officer's brows shot up the moment he flipped it open. Karen's smug face collapsed. She leaned forward, desperate to peek at what he was holding. "What is that? Some fake ID?" "Don't fall for it, officer. He's lying." But the cop cut her off with a sharp look. He closed the folder carefully and returned it to me with a nod of respect. "Sir," he said quietly, "you didn't mention you were retired federal." My son smirked, whispering just loud enough for Karen to hear. "Yeah." "Mom forgot to tell you, he doesn't just own this house. He's the one who used to train half the people you're lying to." Karen's knees wobbled. She tried to laugh it off, waving her hands. This is all a misunderstanding. I thought they were trespassers. I didn't mean..." But the taller officer's voice cut like steel. "Ma'am, step back. We're going to need to see that key in your hand." Karen froze, the master key gleaming under the streetlight. Still warm from being shoved in our lock, and in that moment, the whole neighborhood leaned in, phones recording, waiting to see if the self-proclaimed queen of the block was finally about to fall. Karen's face twisted as every phone on the street turned toward her. She tried to hide the key behind her back, but the shorter officer stepped forward and said sharply, "Ma'am, hand it over." The silence was heavy, neighbors whispering, some even chuckling. She hesitated, then finally slapped the key into his palm, like a spoiled child caught stealing candy. "It's an HOA inspection key," she blurted out, her voice shrill. "I have access to every property here. It's for emergencies." The officer studied the key, then looked at me. "Sir, does your HOA have legal rights to enter your home without consent?" I didn't even need to speak. My son pulled a folder from the counter and opened it wide. "Here's the HOA charter and our deed. Nowhere does it give this woman the right to touch our property. This is criminal trespass." Karen's face drained of color as the officer skimmed the documents. Around us, neighbors were gasping, muttering, pulling out their phones to get closer shots. She tried to backpedal. Okay, maybe I overstepped, but I was only protecting the neighborhood. They've been violating rules for months. I've had complaints." I folded my arms, staring at her. "Complaints? Or just your obsession with control?" That stung. She exploded, pointing her finger at me and shouting, "You think you're safe because you have paperwork? I'll have your car towed, your mailbox locked, your power shut off. This is my neighborhood." The taller officer's voice thundered, "Ma'am, enough!" His hand went to his radio. "We've got attempted unlawful entry, false police report, and harassment. Requesting backup." Karen gasped like the air had been sucked from her lungs. No, you can't. I'm the president of this HOA." And then, the twist she never saw coming hit her square in the chest. My son tapped his phone, and a video played loud on speaker, the one he recorded earlier. Karen's own voice echoed through the street. "If you don't open this door right now, I'll call the police and tell them you're trespassing in this house." Every neighbor froze. A couple gasped. One woman whispered, "Oh my God." She really tried to frame them. The officers' faces hardened. I stepped closer, lowering my voice just enough for her to hear over the murmurs. "Karen, you didn't just try to kick us out. You just destroyed yourself in front of the entire block." Her lips quivered as the officers turned toward her with cuffs in hand. Karen staggered back as the officer snapped the cuffs around her wrists. The clink of steel echoed down the quiet street. She tried to wriggle free, shrieking, "You can't do this! I am the HOA! These people don't belong here!" But her voice cracked, and the crowd's laughter cut deeper than any handcuffs ever could. Neighbors stepped forward, phones raised high, capturing every second. Some who had been silent victims of her harassment finally spoke up. A man from 2 doors down shouted, "She tried to fine me for having my truck in my own driveway." A mother across the street added, "She told my kids their chalk drawings were illegal graffiti." One by one, the truth poured out, and Karen's empire crumbled right there under the streetlights. The taller officer pulled her toward the squad car, but I stopped him with a calm voice. "Before you take her, there's one more thing." I turned toward the crowd, lifting my deed for everyone to see. "This land, this house, it's ours, and no HOA president, no fake authority, no neighbor with a stolen key will ever take that away." My son added, loud enough for the cameras, "She messed with the wrong family. We don't just live here, we protect what's ours." Karen kicked at the ground, eyes wild. "This isn't over. I'll sue, I'll fight, you'll regret this." But the officer shoved her gently into the back seat, shutting the door on her, ranting. The sound of that door slamming was pure justice. As the car pulled away, a cheer rippled through the block. Neighbors clapped, some even hugged us. For once, everyone stood together instead of cowering under her control. My son slipped his phone back into his pocket and smirked. She wanted the neighborhood to see her power. Well, now they saw it. I looked at him, pride swelling in my chest. "Remember this, son. People like her thrive on fear. But when you stand your ground, when you fight with truth, they fall on their own lies." The night air felt lighter as the squad car disappeared. For the first time in years, the street was free. And as I shut my front door, I whispered the line I knew every neighbor would remember. I didn't fight for my home, my land, and my family, just to hand the keys over to a Karen.